Hey guys, welcome back to Lary Talk. I'm your host, Henry King. And as you can see, it's not a new set, just a different angle from my kitchen. You're welcome. I figured why not spruce up the place, right? Maybe I'll do another angle and you can see what my sink looks like. I'm just going around the table. It's like ring around a rosy every episode, right? So, what are we going to do this week? Well, this week I'm actually going to do my first ever movie review. We'll get into that in a second. First, I want to say again, for like the thousandth time, thank you to Aaron Wayne. As you guys know, I've been pimping his book, The Silent Partner, my first year as a laryngectomy. And it's a great book about his diagnosis, going through, keeping a sense of humor. It's a great read. I've suggested it every episode so far. And he also makes these really cool stickers that you can put on your HMEs. See, you're not gonna be able to see them too well on this camera, but the one I'm wearing right now is actually off the same mug that he had sent me. It says, you're not gonna be able to see it too well, probably, but it says the strong silent type with silent X'd out. It's a pretty good mug. He's also got a shirt that I've seen him wearing, and it's a pretty good saying. And I'm wearing this sticker that matches that this week. I think it's a pretty good saying, and it kind of fits me if you think about it. But I'm doing a podcast, and I'm supposed to be shutting up, so you're not supposed to be able to understand me. So anyway, okay. So last episode, I totally butchered the English language, as I gave you a brief and really dumbed down history of cancer. Killed a few names, that I probably should know by heart. But I did hear that some people learned some things, so that's cool. I think that's pretty nice. We got our first sponsorship by a good friend of mine, and I totally butchered and gave out the wrong promotional code. Yeah, watching it back, I felt kind of stupid. If you watch the video, you'll actually see the real code, which is Lary 10. So I kind of did bad on that one, but you learn as you go, right? I'm new to this. I don't know what I'm doing. So let's just keep the ball rolling. You can only get better, right? You got to hit bottom before you can get to top. So with that said, I would like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Peel. Now, as you know, Peel is a lifestyle candle and men's health company who specializes pretty much in soaps with the goat milk and stuff like that. They got great products. I suggest you check out the Nut Butt. That is a brand new product for your balls. I know it's a touchy subject, right, guys? But the only thing that should be smelling smoked is the nuts on your grill, not the ones in your pants. So check it out. Your wife might appreciate that, girl, significant other, whatever's going on in your life. I would also like to recommend any of his beard products. The beard oil is an amazing product. You'll smell amazing. If you're one of those that decide to go out in public without wearing a mask, at least you'll look and smell better than your decisions, right? This will make you look and smell terrific. I used it today. That's why I have this glorious shine. So I suggest checking out Peel. And the actual promo code this week, folks, is Lary 10, Lary 10. All right. You type that in during checkout, and you're going to get 10% off anything you purchase. Okay. So go check him out. He's a great guy, got great products. And we're going to get on with the show. All right. So this show is mainly focused towards laryngeal cancer, laryngectomy patients, that kind of thing. But we are all in the bubble of the head and neck cancer. You know what I mean? So we're all in this together, really, whether it was a tumor on your tongue or you went through a laryngectomy like I did, or you had something in your ear, or your sinuses, top of your mouth, back of your throat, that kind of stuff. That all is ear, nose, and throat, right? Ear, nose, sinuses. What did I say? Head, neck cancer. There you go. Fuck that up, and I'm talking about it anyway. So, looking for news about just laryngectomy is pretty tough to find, actually. Most of the stuff is, you see a couple positive things. If you Google it, you see my show. That's kind of cool. But other than that, it's really hard to find like new positive or negative information about them. So that brings me to this week's. So this week, Val Kilmer released a movie, a documentary about his life all the way through. As everybody knows, Val Kilmer hid the fact for a while that he had cancer. But, once you become this, it's kind of hard to like hide, everybody's going to know something is wrong with you. So Val Kilmer finally comes out and admits that he had throat cancer. I guess he has a tracheostomy. He doesn't have the old laryngectomy thing going yet. I guess. I'll get in a minute why I say I guess. Now, I'm going to review his new movie, Val. I've never reviewed a movie in my life. That's not my thing. I kind of hate movie critics to begin with, man. Half the time they say a movie sucked and it was a great movie, And I'm not Cisco and Ebert, even though we'll get into Mr. Ebert later. But I figured this is like important. This is Val Kilmer, first of all, having throat cancer. He's got a hole in his neck and he has to talk just like I do. That's important to me, first of all. And it's important to anybody that's a laryngectomy, really. The support groups I'm in, when the movie was announced, there was a big buzz about it. We had big hopes about this. Other reasons than other people, obviously. So let's get into this, okay? I'm going to review this movie. Now, mind you, I'm going to try to stay positive this whole time because that's what this show is supposed to be about, right? I'm going to review the movie as a movie fan, and then I'm going to review the movie as a cancer patient and somebody that's gone through a laryngectomy, somebody that's pretty close to being like Val Kilmer, but no offense, Val, I'm better looking. I'm your Uncle Larry. Let's move on. Now, everybody knows Val Kilmer. Who doesn't know Val Kilmer? Any woman that is over the age of 35 knows Val Kilmer from doing Tombstone. My wife loves that movie. Val's her favorite part of that movie. And, I can see why Duck Holliday. I mean, even though the guy fucked a lot, got some diseases and died from it. But yeah, I could see the fascination with a bad boy, I guess. Me personally, I was introduced to Val Kilmer my first time watching Willow. Fucking loved Willow growing up. I mean, who didn't like Willow, right? I mean, it had everything you needed. And Val Kilmer was really, really funny in that movie, and he ended up marrying a woman that co-starred in it with him. So we'll move forward to Val, the actual documentary, I guess, documentary. I would like to start with saying I watch a lot of documentaries, documentary and comedies. Those are my things. That's my go-tos. I watch bullshit on YouTube stuff, but my go-to is a good documentary because I like to learn and I like to laugh. So if I can get a comedy documentary, there you go. So Val is pretty much about Val Kilmer. He had a camera his whole life. He literally grew up with a camera. So a ton of his younger life is recorded, as a child. And you also learn that he had a younger brother that was actually the talented one. Like if he would have been able to, he drowned in the jacuzzi when he had a seizure when he was about 14. And if that kid would have made it, like growing up, he probably would have been one of the best directors and producers out there, honestly. So you get to see this side of Val that you don't really get to see too much, like, yeah, you see the behind the scenes sometimes on movie sets and all that stuff, but none of it's really authentic, They know there's a camera there, they're posing for it. This is just Val with his own camera going around recording his life. And I kind of envy that. Like, I did a lot of things on my early years on television. I don't have any record of that. So I envy him on that part. So if you're a Val fan, you're going to watch this movie and you're going to learn a lot about the process it took for him growing up, how he handled the fame, how he handled being in Juilliard. If you're a woman of Kevin Bacon and Sean Penn, you get to see their ass. I mean, there's a positive. You get to go see, and they're in their 20s. It's not like you get to see it from yesterday. I mean, it's from back when they were, still young and right. I think Kevin Bacon, though, hasn't aged really. So the documentary takes you, and it's all home movies. It's going to take you from Val Kilmer growing up all the way into now. And you learn about how, like, Batman was a hard movie for him because of the suit. You didn't really like it. You didn't care for it. I can understand that, but it's fucking Batman, dude. Fuck. Even though Michael Keaton is Batman to me, but I'm old. What can I say? Now, in between all the clips you see from his own movies is Val now. And the whole thing is being narrated by his son, Jack. His son sounds like a young Val Kilmer, really. There's part time when you're watching it, you kind of forget it's not Val narrating his life, you know. And you, you're watching it, and if you're a Val fan and you see him going from doing these great movies to slowly declining to these smaller roles to eventually trying to he's doing like these comic cons and stuff like that, and over now he's signing. Don't think people, if you meet your favorite person from a movie, say Val Kilmer, do not ask him to write "You're My Huckleberry." This poor guy, and this probably goes for anybody like Robert Downey Jr. or any of those guys that play these characters. You're not the first idiot that showed up and was like, oh, I got a great idea. No, you're about the 10,000th guy that day that showed up and asked them to write some bullshit from the line. Just say to whoever your name is from Val. That's all you need, man. I'm your Huckleberry, the quotation. It's got to be annoying, man. I'd be pissed if that's all I was known for. Stop doing that. Really, stop doing that. So back with the movie. Let us say, like, you see a decline going. And it kind of starts with doing Morrison, really. And he did a great Jim Morrison. That was the best. Like, that was Jim Morrison. And he stayed in character like the entire time of production. He studied everything about Jim Morrison, George Morrison. Yeah. He studied everything about Jim Morrison. Like everything, like that was all he consumed. The music, videos, it was so much that like his wife said, fuck this and what, you know what I mean? You can only hear so much Morrison or any of Zeppelin or anything before you're like, all right, I'm done. That's why they use it for terrorist tactics. So, with that being said, from that movie on, really, like Val has always been known as the difficult guy to work with, but I've heard that about everybody. Shit, at one time, Robert Downey Jr. was a difficult guy to work with. Look at him now. So the fact that Val Kilmer got labeled that, it kind of put a decline on his career, and plus the fact that he turned down doing another Batman. So from that out, he started declining. But he was working on this thing that I think would have been really, really cool. He was trying to do a movie about Mark Twain. And Val's take on Mark Twain is actually really, really funny. Like Val's a funny guy, don't get me wrong. And the whole Mark Twain thing he was doing, I think if he would have got that accomplished, it would have been his best film. Hands down, best film. The way he portrayed. And then, mind you, my favorite Mark Twain ever is Vanilla Ice. You can't be rocking Vanilla Ice as fucking Mark Twain. It was so funny. But he does a factual Mark Twain and the things he says and stuff and the way he's talking. And Mark Twain, it's really good. And he put everything into that. He sold all his property in New Mexico to fund it. And then cancer happened. And now he's doing this. He was doing a Mark Twain tour, 1 minute show, him doing Mark Twain. And then he found out that he had cancer. He had to cancel that. And now here we are, and he's making Val. As far as the documentary goes, the narration's really good. Jack did a good job reading the narration. They wrote it out well. If you're looking for like cinematography and all that great crap, and you're not going to find that. It's home movies, as it should be. Art, he just places art everywhere. Like his art's everywhere. And some of it's pretty good. Other you're like, okay. So all in all, if you're watching that movie as a Val Kilmer fan and you want to know about Val Kilmer, it's a great movie. You know what I mean? I can't say bad about it. You'll learn about Val Kilmer in a way. Now it brings me to my second portion of this review. Okay. The cancer fact. So, like I said, as a cancer, I'm going to do a cancer review here. As a cancer patient, I was kind of expecting more. Val is clearly no vocal cord. You know what I mean? It's clear. I gone in wondering what kind Val had, what kind of cancer he had, how he's dealing with it, and mainly, what is he going to do with this platform to promote head and neck cancer awareness? So I was very, very disappointed in that aspect because as you go in, he never tells you what kind of cancer, he just said throat cancer. There's a couple of different kinds, man. When he says he goes to talk, he's like, oh, I got a choice between speaking and eating. And it's like, well, it's not really that simple, but okay. He doesn't give you any details about anything. You're not going to see him taking care of it. You're not going to see what his process was going through, chemo and radiation. That's all. It seems to be top secret or something. And that really disappoints me. It really pissed me off in a big way. There was a lot of, like I said, a lot of talk in different support groups and online about this could be a chance for him to raise awareness for us. And he didn't even do any of that. He didn't even give a shit. In fact, my honest opinion about this whole film is that he did it so that he could fund maybe the Mark Twain thing in the future, being the producer or whatever. Honestly, that's what it felt like. I did not feel in any way this benefits cancer patients in any way. Now, I know a lot of people are going to come at me with this whole, well, him just doing it is awareness. In some aspects, sure. People had never heard about it, like, what the fuck is head and neck cancer? And they go and looked it up. Sure. I'll give you that, but that don't last. That doesn't last at all, man. And Val is really big into charities, but no charity for cancer at all. You got mad charities. And it's not just about the charities, man. Like, promote it. Don't hide the fact that you got it. That's the goddamn problem with Hollywood. People get something wrong with them, and instead of showing they're a normal goddamn human, just like you and me, they hide the fact and then they die, and they're like, I didn't even know. No, nobody knew because they kept it secret because everybody doesn't want to brag, not brag, but nobody ever wants to talk about things. How the hell are we supposed to solve anything if nobody fucking talks about it? If nobody talks about it, how does it get solved? It doesn't get brought up. So it gets swept under the rug for other things. I guarantee you 90% of you know what ASL is. Or ALS. Anyway, I'll be able to speak it one moment. I guarantee you 90% of you know what it is. The Lou Gehrig disease. Everybody knows that. I also guarantee you about out of that 90%, maybe 30 have heard of laryngeal cancer. So, I mean, do you get my point here, people? It takes a celebrity, it takes somebody higher up than a regular civilian, supposedly, to raise awareness. And that's not true. Not true at all. I actually brought up a list of people this week. And that's what our main topic is this week. It's not going to be the movie. Okay. Our main topic is the fact that you got to raise awareness in any means. And you can't rely on somebody like Val Kilmer to step up their plate because clearly they're not. Clearly, this is for money. I couldn't find anything where Amazon had donated any portions of the funding to any kind of cancer research. I couldn't find it anywhere. I can't even find a cancer donation from Val Kilmer to anything. Now, granted, Val might be doing it like anonymously or whatever, but again, why? Why would you do that? Most people brag about the money they gave to charities and stuff. I don't like those people either, but at least they're doing it. At least we know they're doing something instead of just trying to make a buck off us. So that kind of pisses me off. So let's get into what the definition of head cancer, head and neck cancer. Cancers that are known collectively as head and neck cancer usually begin in the squamous cells that line the mucosal surface of the head and neck, for example, inside the mouth, the throat, and the voice box. These cancers referred to as squamous cell carcinoma of the head and neck. Head and neck cancers can also begin in the salivary glands, sinuses, or muscles, or nerves in the head or neck. But these type of cancers are much less common than squamous cell carcinoma, which is what I had, which is what I assumed Val Kilmer had. We just assumed because, fuck telling anybody about anything, you got to keep it a big secret. And that's the problem with having an ego and being a good looking guy. That's all I'm saying. Now, fewer than 200,000 people a year are diagnosed with head and neck cancer and suffering some kind of head and neck cancer. It may not just be a laryngectomy or laryngeal or anything like that. Even though what the show is about, we're all, like I said, we're all in that family. We're all one. So out of all that 200,000, you might be like, well, that's nothing. I mean, if you look at the world population, that's in the United States, though. It's just the United States. So 200,000 people a year. Out of them, the most common is laryngeal squamous cell carcinoma, the most common head and neck cancer in the United States. In my world, Val Kilmer's world, a lot of you watching's world. 1 out of 100 of those is suicide. 1 out of 100 suicides is cancer related. Laryngectomies being number one, the highest of those. Now think about that. 1 out of 100, again, with the world population, isn't that bad. It's still pretty bad. It's still bad that it happens. Don't get me wrong. It's like being a dickhead and being like, 500,000 dying from COVID is fine. No, it's not. So that being said, the laryngectomies, people like us and Val Kilmer that have gone through this procedure are the highest people to do suicide. Okay. So there's a reason to raise a fucking awareness. There's not many people. Like when I knew I was losing my voice, I cried like a little girl. I ain't afraid to tell anybody, man. It scared the hell out of me. I couldn't picture being somebody like Val Kilmer, who is popular and got money and all that, fame, good looks. I couldn't picture being that. At the same time, though, I'm not famous. I don't have money. And I'm using this platform that I have to somehow raise awareness. This man had a platform for millions worldwide and did nothing. That's why I'm mad about this. Now you could say again, oh, well, just a celebrity having head and neck cancer and doing a movie or being in Top Gun or whatever is awareness. Is it? Is it though? Because I can see people making jokes. I've seen people making jokes about Val Kilmer and being in Top Gun with Larry. It's fucked up, but it happens because there's always going to be a douchebag somewhere, right? It's the world we live in. So I made a list and found out that there's been a shit ton of famous people over the years, not necessarily had laryngectomies, but they had head and neck cancer. And like Val, a lot of them didn't even, nothing. They did nothing. It was like, oh, I had it. Some kept it a secret. Others you didn't know until they died from it. So we're going to get into that list now. I'm going to try keeping it cheerful because this is supposed to be positivity. Because I'm positive fucking Henry. So here we go. So the first person on our list is Larry Hagman. You remember Dallas, right? JR. Who shot JR? That's how old I am. My man had a cancer in his throat. He didn't even know. He just went for a checkup, found out he had cancer in his throat, went through chemo radiation. As he's doing this, he went and finished up filming the remake of Dallas. Pretty baller to be doing that. However, no charity. I mean, pretty badass that he did that, but no charity to be found. So, and again, these people give charities to other things too. I'm talking just cancer. And I had no idea that guy had that cancer. Did you? Humphrey Bogart. Here, looking at you, kid. I mean, he had throat cancer and died from it pretty much. There was never any charity in his honor. Most people didn't even know about that. It's Humphrey fucking Bogart, dude. He's like one of the most famous actors because he did Casablanca. One movie. Sorry, I think he's overrated, honestly. Ed Sullivan. Ed goddamn Sullivan. Now, kids, anybody younger than what, 30 watching this, Ed Sullivan was what you would call the Jimmy Kimmel back then, or anybody. He was the guy. He was the guy. Discovered all this. The Beatles were on there. Ed Sullivan made your career, put it that way. He was the original late night god. You think Carson, you think any of those, you got to go to Ed Sullivan. The goddamn theater is named after him, for Christ's sake. The Ed Sullivan Theater. Again, no cancer charity. Most of you are probably just finding this out now. He also died, I believe, back. He didn't get the surgery or anything like that. Well, let's see. I got a couple here. I'm going to go down. Erin Moran. Remember the Happy Days? Joni Louis Chachi. She died of cancer. She had throat cancer. Now, a lot of these, it doesn't really say if they actually had a laryngectomy, but you can assume that a lot of them, while they're in a hospital, had at least a trach put in. The doctor going to do whatever they can to keep you alive, right? Even if you don't want it, you're going to get it. You're going to pass out, wake up with one. So it's safe to say that she, at least had like a drink with it. But again, no charities, none whatsoever. Here is my favorite, Sofia Vergara. This woman, hands down, everybody watching, if you know who she is, from Modern Family, is like the hottest woman that was on TV at the time. Before she got famous, though, she actually got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. I remember thyroid's up in here, it's in your throat, it's part of that, and neck cancer. And she had it removed. If you actually look, I had to look real hard. Whoever did her surgery was good. She does have a mark and a little area where you can see what a trait was. Now, Sofia's been open about this the entire time. You can find many, many interviews where they're talking about it. She does a bunch of different charities. One of them being Stand Up to Cancer, and the other being St. Jude's Children's Hospital. That involved the cancer research about it. And St. Jude's, that's a really good one to donate to. If you're going to donate to something like that, and the Ronald McDonald House. Really donate to the Ronald McDonald House. I had a friend that actually had to use them. His son went in for a heart surgery, and they hooked him up, treated him great. So donate to that kind of cause too. And then it brings me, these are all just the actors, okay? Then it brings me to Michael Douglas. Michael, listen up, buddy. If you ever see this, you contact me. Lary Talk Podcast at gmail.com. I would love to have you on the show. Everybody knows about Michael Douglas's cancer. He became the blunt of all the late night jokes because he caught it from HPV. Now, the joke aside, it's a fucked up thing anyway. You know what I mean? He's going through cancer, and the best you can do is come up with a late night joke about it. It's stupid. Everybody thought this guy was just fucking dumb until later we find out, and we already really knew that, yeah, he was right. HPV can cause it. So Michael had his part of his tongue removed. I think he had the part removed, radiation, chemo, and he was on his way. My man does a lot of charities for just cancer. He does a lot of charities to begin with, but he does charities. Let's see, the Cancer Research Institute, Stand Up to Cancer, and Melanoma Research Alliance. It's pretty badass. And every one of these I mentioned, I am going to put a link up so that way, if you want, you can go and donate to these too and join the cause. Because why not, right? Now, with that said, this brings us on to the movies. And the reason why I got this section is because I'm doing it by platform. These are all the actors. These are people that have the Hollywood platform. Okay, they can do a lot with that, and a couple of them have. Most don't, and these are just a small list. It's something like 85 altogether that had a neck cancer, and a lot of them you would never know. So this brings us to music. And recently we lost Eddie Money to throat cancer. He had esophageal cancer, and he died a few weeks after. Now, again, we don't know if he was a full Larry, but if you're dying in a hospital from this, it's safe to assume that the doctor gave you a drink. I mean, it'd be common sense. If I would say that, I'm pretty sure the doctor really had to drink. My doctor wanted me to have a drink before I even did surgery, so I denied it, which was kind of dumb on my part. But again, no charities at all for any money. I mean, at all, any money, do not. No, you're not giving out any money. Sammy Davis Jr., he died of throat cancer, and he was a laryngectomy patient at the end. He fought off having to do it and eventually had to become a Larry and then eventually died in the hospital from it. This is Sammy Davis Jr. He is one of the Rat Pack. You get what I'm saying? The honorary member of the Rat Pack. That reaches pretty far. You got the baby boomer generation right there alone. And you could have, but again, somebody in his family could have raised the awareness. Sammy probably didn't have enough time. Maybe he would have if he had recovered, but I doubt it. I doubt it. Eddie Van Halen, people. Eddie, the greatest guitar player of the 1980s, right? Some say of all time, and he'd be a good running. Eddie had throat and tongue cancer. Right? And he claims that it was from the guitar picks up, even though he smoked like a chain. He chain smoked. He had 2 packs a day. I mean, come on, dude. Just look on the signs. So we'll give it to him. We'll say it was the picks. But he died of throat cancer and tongue cancer. He actually ended up with a head tumor, I believe. But again, no charities. Wolfgang, they got nothing out there for him. Didn't see anybody coming out there being like, you got to be aware of this kind of stuff and blah, 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 blah. But whatever. All right, this brings me to one of my favorite people on earth, man, Adam Yacht from the Beastie Boys. Anyway, I just wanted to do that. I literally planned that all week. Anyway, you had parotid glands, lavatory glands in your cheek by your ear. You died from that kind of cancer, which was a horrible way to go, man. He had a part of the shit removed, and it wasn't good. But again, no cancer charities. And the Beastie Boys donate to a lot of shit, but I couldn't find anything. You think that the rest of them would raise some kind of awareness. Their best friend died, but whatever. And this is what I'm talking about. These are platforms. This goes across in the music industry. Everybody knows the fucking Beastie Boys. Even if you don't like them, you know who the hell they are. They fought for your right to party, for Christ's sake. Show some respect. Anyway, now here's the one everybody knows. If you don't know who this person is, man, you've been living under a rock since the 60s. George Harrison. He's a goddamn Beatle. You can't get any more influential than a Beatle. And George Harrison, personally, is my favorite Beatle. That is fuck Paul McCartney, man. I like George. He was my guy. But he had a tumor in his neck, ended up having a brain, and he died of lung cancer. Is there a charity for a fucking Beatle? No. And it's the Beatles, man. You got the biggest platform, in my opinion. Who didn't like the goddamn Beatles? Now wait. And if you don't like the Beatles, how about this? And this is a really bad coincidence, if you think about it, especially since I put it right in the order. I didn't realize it. Peter Tork from the Monkees. Now, kids, back in the 70s, they came out with a TV show called The Monkees, which was pretty much a rip-off of the Beatles satire. And it was great. Go ask your mom about Davy Jones. She's going to tell you some shit. The Beatles and the Monkees, 2 different platforms, pretty much the same people. Comedy. He had died of a very rare form of cancer called adenoid cystic carcinoma, ACC. They're not sure what caused this at all. Like, this is one of the rare ones they don't know anything about. Again, reason why you should be raising awareness so we can research this stuff, right? That's what the raising awareness does. The more you're aware, the more you're able to donate, give money, do the research, get the funding. So, again, no charity, money at all. And he's a monkey. Personally, I like the monkeys a little bit more than I did the Beatles. Don't tell people. And now you got Rod Stewart, you know, Rod Stewart. If you want my body, anyway. So Rod Stewart goes across a pretty big platform as well. Anybody from the 80s knows Rod Stewart. 70s, really. From the 70s and the 80s, you know Rod Stewart. Trust me. And then he's got some pretty good songs, man. I like Rod Stewart. Anyway, he ended up having thyroid cancer and prostate, but he had his surgery removing the thyroid and had to learn how to sing again. Think about that one. I think it's tough trying to learn how to fucking talk, try to sing again. And he does give out to charity, man. He's been really aware about this and going out in public and talking about it. He didn't go into hiding. You know, he didn't make a documentary about it. But he gives to the City of Hope Foundation and breast cancer. So good for him, right? And again, I'm gonna have all these links for you down in the descriptions. So you'll be able to get it whether you're listening to us on Spotify or watching us on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, I'm going to hit the like and subscribe button because I want to be able to build this channel and do some things in the future. And I want you to be a part of it. Jump on early because you don't want to be that guy or girl or person 5 years down the line going, oh, I've never heard of this. Where was this my whole life? You want to jump on in the beginning. Anyway, now we're going to go to another platform. We're going to move on to sports folk. Now, again, there's a bigger list. These are just people I grabbed up. And everybody likes sports. And every fall, you see the NFL with pink. I'm not just breast cancer. But goddamn, you got the market dominated, don't you? Jesus Christ, everything's pink. You could be like, hey, do you know the cancer color? And they're going to say pink. No, each cancer got their own thing. Like ours, for example, is burgundy red and ivory. Okay, keep that on mind. That's what's on the cup. That's what's on my neck right now. That's what's going to be a flag symbol. Don't worry about it. So we're going to move on to sports. Every year you see the NFL. Every year they have the pink. Last season they did everyone, which was kind of nice for once. What about the rest of them? You know, I mean, there's a cause every month, and there's a sport playing every month. WWE is every week. AEW is every week. Yeah, they might not be the sports, might be sports entertainment, but they got a big audience. A big audience. So this brings us to a former Laker, the Lakers. Everybody knows at least one Laker, right? A lot of you are their fans. I know Thomas is. So he was the coach in the WNBA as well, Michael Cooper. Michael Cooper had tongue cancer. And he had that part of the tongue removed. You kind of tell, but he could talk pretty well. No charities, no nothing. I didn't even know Michael Cooper had cancer at all. I also didn't know he was coaching the WNBA. My bad. Nobody watched that. Sorry, ladies. But we're going to go to my neck of the woods. I know this guy, Jim Kelly. He is the greatest Giants player ever. He played in the Redskins and for the Cowboys. But he also played for the Buffalo Bills. If you don't get that joke, kids, go watch the Super Bowl years of Buffalo Bills. You'll see what I mean. Anyway, this guy is in my neck of the woods. I know about Jim Kelly, okay? Ithaca, New York is about 3 hours from Buffalo. The way my area is, we're not central New York. We're not western New York. We're not southern tier. And we're not what they consider upstate up here. We're like in the middle of all that. It's really weird the way we are set up. It's really weird. But Jim Kelly is pretty goddamn popular. Let me tell you, like, it's hard being a Giants fan sometimes. So moving on, he actually had a tumor in his jaw, and then later he had a tumor going in his sinuses. Okay, and he had them removed, and you could tell. You could look at Jim Kelly and tell nowadays. However, he doesn't have any charities for us. Nothing about this. I mean, all the charities he does, and he does a lot. Trust me, Jim Kelly is a god around here. He does a lot of charities, but it's mainly for his son's disease and stuff like that, which I get. He's a father. I get that totally, man. Awesome. Good on you. But help us out, brother. We could use you too. We could use all these people. You know, we can use them all. So again, we're going to cross another platform. You know, these are all different platforms that can be using to raise the awareness that we need. You know, and nobody's really doing it. Nobody's really doing it. I'm doing more than most of these people, man. Sophia and Michael Douglas are doing their part. Fucker the rest of you. Now he brings us to fashion. You know, and you might not like fashion, but you know at least one damn model doing it. It's sad. Diane von Furstenberg, who also married a prince back in 1969, just to add that in there. She's a fashion designer. She ended up with having tongue cancer. She credits the tongue cancer to Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren had a ringing in his ear, went to a doctor, found out he had a benign tumor, got it removed. She had the same symptom, went to a doctor. They found a cyst on her tongue. They insisted it wasn't cancer. She had them remove it anyway. Come find out it was skin cancer. So, but then her and her husband do great things, charities wise and stuff. They've made a, which I just found out this morning. It's kind of funny. They made a park in New York City, you know, with an amphitheater, a little area. So, I mean, they do nice things, but where's that in that cancer awareness lady? Now you got Sigmund Freud. Remember that idiot, right? The smother lover. Now, the cancer he had is varicose carcinoma, also called the Ackman's tumor. The main cause is from tobacco use in older men. He had his jaw replaced with a mechanical jaw. And I'm going to show a bit of the only thing I could think is to do from me, man. And he hated the damn thing. I mean, who wouldn't hate that, right? So he got another one that was lighter, made it so he could chew better, he could talk, and smoke again, because that guy's fucking brilliant. Do you have any charities? Oh, you read about this shipwreck? No, there's no charities. Dan Richards, now this is a former governor of Texas. Now, she didn't have any time, really. She found out she had esophageal cancer that died 6 months later. Would she have started a charity? Who knows? But as a politician, she could have made some laws and some changes to make it easier for us. I guarantee you, Val Kilmer, I guarantee you, with all the money you have never had an argument with your insurance company about getting your supplies that you need so you don't fucking die. Guarantee it, Val. I have. I bet 80% of the people watching this has as well. A politician had it and nothing was said. Think about that. Oh, but she's just a governor. You say, well, what about Grover Cleveland, president of the United States? He found a tumor at the roof of his mouth and they wouldn't have it removed. Now, this is back in the day, you know. Well, it was Grover Cleveland. I think he died in like 1909 or something like that. But anyway, this is back when it was like real bad, you know. Here's your morphine and go to town. They removed it from the roof of his mouth and they kept it secret because they were worried about a public outcry. Really? So we're pretty much trying to believe that these people, because they got success and fame, aren't human anymore. They're subhuman. They don't get sick. He was goddamn president of the United States. And the only reason why nobody knew is because he had that walrus-looking mustache. Unreal. Oh, here's a couple fun ones for you, okay? My man John Gotti, the Don, shows some fucking respect and we beat it out of you. Yeah? Now, I like John Gotti. I like the story of John Gotti. The guy was very interesting. Was he a good guy? No. I mean, he's a fucking monster. He was a Don. You don't become a Don being nice. You know what I'm saying? Nice guys didn't swim with the fishes. But in prison, he ended up getting throat cancer and became a Lary before he died. So there's a fun one. And think about how shitty that must have been because he's in the prison system. Maybe he had money still to, like, maybe the family paid for a better surgeon, but prison system insurance has got to suck. And then another one, Sonny Barger, the leader of the Hells Angels. The guy that started the Hells Angels. Sonny was actually a laryngeal cancer. And it wasn't full blown Larry at the end of it all. Uh, I've seen many interviews with that guy, and I've seen him using an EL, and I've seen him talk with his stuff. So, fun fact on them. The main reason why I included them is to show that all walks of life, no matter who you are at risk of head and neck cancer. No matter who you are. You don't care if you don't smoke, you don't drink. There's many people that get this that didn't do any of that in their lifetime. People that were very, very healthy. I mean, Michael Cooper, for Christ's sake, is an athlete. An athlete. Jim Kelly was an athlete. You know, they took care of themselves. They had to keep themselves conditioned. You get what I'm saying? So it's not just what you smoking or drinking or eating. It could happen. What can happen? A couple of that in that cancers, they don't know why it happened. This is why we need to raise awareness, people. Sure, it's only 200,000 people a year, but we're the growing cancer in the country, actually in the world right now. We're getting up there. And every year, younger and younger men and women are coming down with this. So it's no longer an old man's game. That is over with. It's just now an everybody and every generation problem. And that's why it is important to me. And that's why I do the podcast. And that's why I'm criticizing Val Kilmer and his stupid movie. Now, with all this said, how do we raise awareness? We can't get any help from the celebrities. What do? You have local places. You call the American Red Cross. See if they teach how to do CPR to folks like us. So that way, anytime somebody's out in the public and they need CPR, they're going to know how to do it with us. I mean, it's really easy. It's not that hard. You can go to your local EMS, anywhere of them. You can go there and explain who you are, show them who you are. Go to your local police department even, and introduce yourself, question things. The main thing, you can also, the main thing is us. We're the ones that are going to have to raise the awareness, right? So things like this, little neck breather bracelet that you put on your wrist, right? You can order these free. By the way, I'll give the description. I'll give a link in the description for you. With these little things, not only a bracelet do you get, but you also get a shoulder harness that goes over your strap for when you're driving your car. And you also get a sticker for your car too. And I got a couple stickers, so like one could go in your car. You could probably put one in the window of your house, when the firemen show up or something like that. That's another way to do it. But if it comes down to us, we got to stop this hiding mentality. We got to stop the "what was me" mentality. We got to stop the keep it a secret, the hide the stolen thing. As corny as it may sound, these little things that Aaron makes is one of the best ways to raise awareness. You're not making it a horrific thing when they see it. They're like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then you would explain to them what it is you had, how you got it, whether you smoked or didn't, this whole don't look at that person, don't talk to that person, they got this going on. No, we got to get away from that. Okay. The whole ignore the person with a disability thing has got to go. You see somebody in a wheelchair, ask them what happened. You talk to them. 90% of the cases, people are willing to talk to you about it. I know Mad Larrys are willing to talk to you about it. If you see somebody like me on the street, ask them what happened, how that happened, blah, 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 blah. Don't be a dick. You know what I mean? Don't make your little jokes. Because they're not funny. They're really not. They are, but they're not. We're allowed to joke about it. You're not, damn it. And go to your local cancer resource center. I'm going to try finding links to a bunch of them, but go to your local cancer resource center and join their groups and join their causes when they have those little barbecues, when they have the parade, or not parade, but the runs or the walks and all that stuff. Join that shit. donate your money. They're going to donate your money to that kind of cause. You know, it doesn't always have to be breast cancer. Okay, folks. So I'm sorry. It doesn't have to always be prostate or testicular. Okay. We're getting that covered pretty much. Let's move on to some other stuff as well. Let's make it a little better for other people. So when they're going in and not freak the fuck out and depressed and blow their brains out because they think the world is going to end because they no longer have a voice. That's my opinion onto it. But in the end, we can't really rely on celebrities and fame and money. Really. We really can't. We got to rely on each other, folks. Me doing this podcast is a way to raise awareness. Me giving out the links is a way to raise awareness. Yeah, it might not be a great podcast. It might suck. It might be a low budget. But guess what? I'm a laryngectomy. I'm a guy who don't have vocal cords, and I'm doing this better than most people. So I got that going for me. But that's not enough either. There's other things I could be doing. I plan on doing, way more things. I plan on making my online presence a little bit more. So that way we could branch out a little bit and not benefit the channel, but benefit the entire head and neck cancer in a whole, and especially laryngeal cancer, because that's the one that's personal to me. I plan on going to the hospital and seeing what the emergency rooms, what they do, if they come into contact with me, if they ever met somebody like me. 90% of your nurses have never had to deal with anybody like us. We're a rare case, but we're on the rise, and that's why people need to know. And that's why it's going to help us in the end. In the end, better awareness is also going to make it so your insurance isn't so much of a prick about things. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Everybody's had that problem. If you have no money and you have insurance that isn't top par, you're getting screwed a lot. You're fighting through hoops. When I first got my insurance and I was trying to get my supplies, man, at one point I told my wife, forget it. I'd rather have died than go through this. That's the kind of crap you go through with insurance. And that is why this is important to me. And that's why, Val, I think you wasted your goddamn platform and time. I don't care about, I'm not a huge Val Kilmer fan. If I wanted to know all that kind of stuff, I could have read People's Magazine. All right. You wasted your platform, and that's what I'm going to say about the Val Kilmer movie and anybody else that doesn't do anything to raise awareness, especially when you had the goddamn cancer. That just blows my mind. How selfish are people? Now, granted, some people are donating to other things. Some of it's kind of dumb, you're like, whatever. We need our awareness. And I hope this kind of helps out a little bit. And I guess I'm at the end of the episode. So remember to check out Beal. Do the Lary code, Lary10, get 10% off. And go buy, or well, no, not buy, but go get Aaron Wayne's book. And he'll send you some cool stickers and maybe even a mug. So until next time, take care of each other, wear a goddamn mask, and have a good one.
Everybody wake up. It's a brand new day, and this is your chance to let your soul shine. Proud to be you and me, freaks and geeks. Always remember that your soul is divine. Come on. When they're all resting, when the sun sets, we bust out paint and make a big mess. And take a big breath, cause the air is fresh. Like, man, this world here sure is beautiful.